Hey, my apostles here, and we're live for a few minutes here. I just want to go through this topic that is frustrating for a lot of chiropractors, and that is that we have a vision of seeing a great practice where we can have others working with us, we can share our knowledge, we can empower them, we can attract in even more associates, and the place just really hums. And that's great as long as the associates stay. And unfortunately, a lot of practice have like a revolving door relative to associates. And let's face it, most associates do leave the practice. And so there's a structure to this, and there are ways in which some of the holes can be gapped so that, or stopped, so that associates can stay for longer, to extract more value for themselves, as well as giving value to your practice members or to their practice members. And I have a sort of a division on this one in terms of some people do come to your practice, some associates come to your practice for a reason. It's just a very specific reason. They come in, they do their thing, they learn what they've got to learn, and then they go. And there's really there's a lot of use in understanding that, because then we don't get frustrated when they do go, because they've come for a reason. We've given them delivered on that, and you've provided them with great service, and they in turn have contributed to the practice, and then it's time for them to move to the next thing. So that's a reason that can often be just 12 months or 18 months. And then some people come for a season. Some people will come to they may maybe say a female might come in and want to have children down the track a wee bit in the next few years. So they do that, and they come in and out a couple of times as they have their kids. And then that season's over with. And that could be 5, 6, 8 years. And then they go, and they set up their own practice, or do their own thing, and in their own level of development as their life changes. So that's a season, and that's a really valuable thing to know, so that you can plan for that, you can work with that, and you craft your practice accordingly. And then there's those that come for a lifetime. They're fairly rare, but they do happen. We have one person in our practice who's been there for 20 odd years, and that's sort of a lifetime thing. And it's an amazing relationship, and it's one that chiropractor becomes very much a centerpiece of the whole practice. So there's different ways you work with that. But the bottom line on this is that you can't control others. You can't control what associates do. You can't control their life. What you can do, though, is control you, and you can control your practice. So within that, then when people get that, when chiropractors get that, then it's no longer about, oh, this associates have ditched me. It's like, okay, what can I do? And Kristen was a good example of this. She had a string of associates who'd been in and out, and some quite reactively. Some had left in a frustrated position. Some were just bored and apathetic, and they left. And some were really excited, and they went off to do their own thing. And it was irritating, because there wasn't consistency there. And so when we came on board and put in some of the processes that we know will lift the game for the chiropractor, for the practice, and for the associates, then which involves designing from the top down, involves looking at the thing from a strategic point of view. Well, then what happened is that, well, firstly, we looked at the gaps, looked at where the outnesses were, where people were, or associates were finding their use by date was way sooner than they maybe had originally thought, or that the chiropractor had expected, or the owner had expected. And when we found what was irritating them, or not, they're not being fulfilled, then they stayed for longer, and because they had an ascension pathway. So they had a pathway where they could grow and develop as a human being, as a chiropractor, as a provider, as a business person within this context. So that then became a um, a whole different ball game. And with that, the practice then started to develop into a much more congenial way of people relating together, and the associates stayed. So that's and then, you know, obviously they all go for their own reasons. So I just want to have a look at some of the stops that we often have within our practices that that can be addressed, that can be very easily addressed in the context of your practice. And all of us have the opportunity to constantly plug the holes in these areas and to expand upon them. And the more we expand upon them, the more associates we can accommodate, and the longer the tenure is of the associate. So, you know, the first area here is, what is your philosophy? And is the philosophy congruent? Is there a philosophy that runs all the way through the practice? And does that philosophy create a culture? And because, well, all philosophy does create a culture. What is the culture? You know, what is it that you're there for? Why are you there? What's the driver of your practice, of your business? Is it defined? Do your core values flow through into your vision and your mission and your purpose? Is there a buy-in that's way bigger than any individual? So that's the first point, making sure that you've got your practice functioning really well in this area of attraction, and that it does attract others, and it attracts people to stay too. So, you know, attract isn't just about bringing people in, it's about constantly being compelling for people to stay and to be in the practice, and including obviously associates. So the second level then is, how organized are you? You know, how much do you have organization in place so that there is a feeling of nurture? See, predictability is critical. You know, the associate that has these rules that are there sometimes and not others, or things that happen sometimes and not others, that's interpolating. That puts an associate on edge. And so that doesn't allow then the associate to feel comfortable, to feel nurtured and cared for, and to do their best work. Even they need to have that process in place. So making sure that you've got the things that nurture people, the things that nurture situations, which is a familiarity, a predictability. You know, things happen the same way. There's a routine there. There's a systematic process to the operations of the business. And so that leads then into the third area that many chiropractors find is putting off as far as their longevity in a practice. And that is, I mentioned it before, the relationship here between the culture and what's done, right? So the delivery here, that when we deliver on our services, it's got to be congruent. So making sure that we have congruency in place, so that you then your associates then are consistently supported with the vision, the belief structure, the value structure of your business. And so there's a congruency that flows all the way down, and it flows, you know, from that area of philosophy, and it comes all the way through the organizational structure. All the policy manuals and everything must be consistent, so that then we can deliver in a congruent way. So what we say, what we do are consistent, that there is no deviation from that, that people find that they are all operating off the same song sheet. There's not exceptions of the rules for various people. There's a sense of oneness, and that has to happen in a practice. And it's something that you can design and work on, and obviously it's constantly changing, because a philosophy is a way of looking at life, and it's a love of ideas, and new ideas come in constantly in this attract area here. So ideas are happening here constantly, and they're being passed through into the organization. So the organization is constantly changing too, but it must also reflect across into the delivery section, so that when we are there working with our people, we must know that we're being supported by the rest of the team, that there's a consistency to the process, and there's a congruency in what we're saying we're doing and what we are doing. And that's often a major departure point for chiropractors who are working in an associate context. They see that that things aren't exactly what was either promised or what was expected or what was agreed upon. So this is an area that a lot of chiropractors find. They just get a few things cleaned up in here and tidy up some of the incongruencies and start to have regular team meetings, for example, so that everyone gets together, they know the date. It's not like, oh, we'll have a team meeting if the boss feels like it. It's like every single Thursday at a certain time, whatever it happens to be, is a team meeting. And so that ritual, that process allows for a sense of consistency that then builds trust, and it builds an involvement with the team. So this is a key area here for associates to feel like they're very much a part of your office and your team and your purpose, and on board with the philosophy. So to the degree that you can do that is a major factor. And then the next area here is how we expand and how we're always looking for new ways to do something, how we can reinvent. So if an associate finds that they put in a really good suggestion, what they feel is a good suggestion, it either gets ignored or it gets agreed to, but it doesn't get implemented, then this is a major issue for associates, and this is often a cause for them to leave, because they think, well, these people just don't care, they're not wanting to grow, they're not wanting to change. It's a chiropractor who won't communicate on maybe social media, or won't go with emails, or was writing letters, or it's like, if a person's not willing to make a shift, that's a limit to certain people within an organization who want to reinvent things, want to keep growing and expanding. So the unwillingness to expand is a significant component here too. So when we're willing to reinvent ourselves as a business, then the associate will tend to stay because they can be part of that reinvention. And with that reinvention, they're actually firing, or we're all firing across into this area where we attract more in, we develop ourselves even more. And so this process can perpetuate. And so every time we have an idea of reinvention coming across here, it increases our reach, our curiosity, our desire for more, or for better, or for different. And that then fires off the organizational capacities that they have to expand to meet with that. That then sets off a review of our congruency, and that allows us to step to a new level of being all on the same page. And that, of course, then stimulates new ideas, which is more reinvention. So that's a very, very quick expose, if you like, of the areas that we're concerned with within the structuring of a practice that will create a situation where associates will tend to stay because there's more there for them. They're in an ascension pathway. So in other words, they are ascending in their own development through the business. So this system can be designed, and you will get to know where the outpoints are, where the gaps are, and this allows then the associates to grow and develop. And the key here is that the practice stays ahead of them. The practice has always got to be bigger than any individual in the practice. As long as that happens, then associates will tend to stay and contribute because there's something in it for them. So if you'd like to have a chat with me about this in terms of your practice, I'm very happy to do that. Just comment below, or private message me, and we can have a short chat and see if there's something there that we might be able to help you with in terms of looking at your associate practice, or the design of a practice that you want to have that will incorporate associates. And it can be a real winner just to patch up a few of these holes and to tweak things so that you go to a higher level of function, and the associates then will tend to stick around. So until soon, I'm Mark Postles. Take care, and we'll talk soon. Bye.